I'm going to edit this towards the front of the video because I forgot to mention it. I just want to throw out there, when this video is up, we're going to be a few hours later going live, talking about, I know, the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm sure some other stuff about the NBA over on my podcast. So go check that out. It's going to be the top link in the description of the pinned comment. Hello everybody, welcome to Awesome Rusty Buckets. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I'm trying to hit 100k subscribers, so that subscription would be much appreciated. And on top of being welcome to the channel, welcome to another episode of I Complain About a Tweet for 8 minutes or more. Because Lord knows it has to be 8 minutes to get that sweet ad revenue, although it is January, so it's not that sweet. I saw something annoying on Twitter and now I want to talk about it. That's what videos on this channel are all the time. I don't advertise them as being particularly important. I see comments sometimes that are like, did this need a video? And the answer is probably not. I just, anytime I have thoughts, I'm just gonna throw them out on there. So in today's area of dumb thoughts, there was a TikTok that I saw posted and made the rounds on NBA Twitter. Some guy was going around, I guess there was some kids playing basketball. I don't know if it was from a camp or something or just happened to be, but it was like he was surveying, like, these kids were 10 to 12 years old, asking who the real mELo was, Carmelo Anthony or Lamelo Ball. Now, I would say from the get-go that it is ridiculous that this is even a question, because they can both be mELo. I don't know why people think that Carmelo Anthony owns the right to have the nickname mELo when it's in Lamelo Ball's name. If something is a part of your name, people are allowed to call you that. I find it ridiculous that people would question that. That's like if people got mad at me being called Jay because my name is Jacob or something. Like, it's silly. But regardless, the whole point of the TikTok was to go essentially do the waving the fist older generation cliche of, like, these kids these days don't know, because most of them, being young kids, said Lamelo Ball when they were asked, when I say mELo, who do you think of? And this spawned a bunch of different posts. It even got posted on like NBA on ESPN's official Twitter account, which I found kind of nuts, because essentially what the video is this older guy asking these kids between, you know, who they think mELo is, and, like, clearly it's made with the intent to get people, like, angry with it or saying something with it. It's intentionally engaging in that way. It's like throwing something to an annoying hate mob, because of course this conversation about Lamelo versus Carmelo, it's been had before. And it probably will continue to, especially if Lamelo ascends further in terms of becoming more and more of a household name. Not that he's particularly unpopular right now, but just in case it wasn't obvious, the reason why this is stupid is these are children. And for these children, growing up, they didn't really hear much about Carmelo Anthony. Let's say most people gain their consciousness when they're like 6. And let's say these 10-year-olds started watching basketball when they were 8. How likely is it that it was brought up in 2020 to them who Carmelo Anthony was when they were first getting into basketball? I'm not saying it's impossible, but that's about all you're going to get. Maybe they see footage of him on the Lakers and their dad explains it to them. That's pretty much the only way it's going to happen, because otherwise they're going to see Lamelo Ball highlights on TV and they're going to think of that guy as mELo. So there you go. It's really as simple as that. NBA fans, that those kids will probably grow up and eventually learn about Carmelo Anthony if they truly are going to continue to be NBA fans, especially hardcore NBA fans. But when I first started watching basketball, I probably couldn't have told you much about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It took me some time to actually learn the history of the game. It's a part of the process. And first of all, they have the right to call him mELo. It's fine. Lamelo Ball, that is. And second of all, it's not disrespectful to be ignorant because you're new to something. The amount of replies that would imply that it was disrespectful, or they would shame the generation. Like, these kids are so this or that. Like, that kind of stupid, old, waving your fist at the clouds rhetoric, that shit was happening in the replies to this video. And I found it so childish and, like, not how people work. Like, it's like walk up to an infant and be like, do you know who Carmelo Anthony is? It says nothing. You're like, unbelievable. That's essentially what it is. It's very, very childish to me, ironically, because they're criticizing children. Although I guess you could say that criticizing children like they're adults like that, or they should be well informed, is a childish thing. But I do find that ironic. It annoyed me rather significantly, and it's something that kind of has always happened. But like, when you became a fan, whatever year it was, like, assuming you are not that much older than me watching this, or if you're even younger than that, like, let's say you started watching basketball in 2015. It would not be your fault in 2015 to not think that much of Kobe Bryant initially. Let's just say you were just ignorant to the world of basketball, and then in 2015 you started watching. 2015 was not a good time to enjoy Kobe, because after 2013 he was never the same. So similar thing applies. It's just early introduction. Lamelo is all over highlights right now. Carmelo Anthony is not retired, but not in the league right now. So why would a person who's young be made more aware of a player who's not in the league right now than a player who is? And a player who, frankly, especially last year, the media just loves to show their highlights, loves to show Lamelo Ball highlights. So it's a player that's particularly popular with a younger generation. I don't know, man. It's very annoying and gatekeepy, and, like, in order for the NBA to survive as an organization, further generations of kids need to watch and enjoy basketball. And if kids are watching and enjoying basketball for the NBA and for NBA fandom, that's overall a W. And if they're a little ignorant to the NBA's history at first, give them a little bit of a break, because it's not that big of a deal. Hell, there are some people who are hardcore NBA fans currently for what's going on right now, but their history and that, knowing their knowledge of the NBA history is not particularly great, because that's just not what they were there for. They were interested in what was in front of them. That was what became before. But for me, I got into the NBA my first year, and then I spent the entire offseason playing 2K every single day and watching documentaries on YouTube and clips and everything I could to learn the history of the NBA as fast as I could. But that's because I was an obsessive person who can't have casual hobbies, and have been like that my entire life. I'm either 100% obsessed with something or not interested in it at all. So that's how I quickly learned so much information. But yeah, anyways, I think I made my point. Just don't harass younger kids for being ignorant about some basketball shit. They're children. And ironically, you're behaving like a child by expecting more of them. But yeah, that is it. Goodbye.